3 days ago, new court filings dropped in the Dorit and PK Kemsley divorce, and they are more alarming than anything that has come before them. PK is accusing Dorit of using their children to send him financial demands. Dorit is accusing PK of deliberately letting the electricity go out to pressure her to sell the house. The May 20th auction is 4 days away, and none of this shows any sign of stopping. The Dorit and PK Kemsley divorce has been generating court filings, text message leaks, and financial revelations since the paperwork was filed on April 25, 2025. In the 12 months since that filing, what began as a high-profile Beverly Hills divorce with a specific and dramatic origin story, Dorit filing the day after PK was photographed kissing Shauna Wall outside Cipriani, has evolved into something that the Real Housewives franchise has not previously seen in quite this form. It is not simply a contentious divorce. It is a divorce being conducted as a public war, with both parties' legal teams filing documents that read like press releases, court filings being obtained by TMZ within hours of submission, and Ronald Richards, the attorney who represents the trustee in the Erica Jane $25 million case, and who has made documenting the Kemsley finances a personal mission, posting accounting breakdowns and forensic declarations to his Instagram as though it were a true crime podcast. As of today, May 16, 2026, the most recent filings came in within the last 72 hours. They contain allegations that have not been reported on by most outlets yet. We are going through all of it, from the beginning of this week to the auction date that is now 4 days away. Let us start with the most recent breaking development, because it is the one that arrived overnight and that changes the shape of the story. Dorit's legal team filed papers this week accusing PK of deliberately stopping payment on the utilities at their Encino home. Not just the mortgage, the gas, the electricity, the internet, and other services connected to the property where she lives with their 2 children, Jagger and Phoenix. Her filing states that these services went unpaid for an extended period and that she covered them herself out of her own funds to prevent interruptions to her household. She accused PK of using the utility payments, and the threat of turning them off, as leverage in the divorce proceedings, to pressure her into accepting settlement terms she had not agreed to. PK's team's counterposition, offered to TMZ by sources close to him, was that he paid those bills for years and only recently stopped because of what he described as Dorit's wild spending. His forensic accounting declaration, prepared by CPA Joseph Sweeney and filed earlier this week, is the document that his team believes most clearly explains his decision to stop paying. That declaration alleged that between December 2024 and March 2025 alone, Dorit spent $995,270 on wardrobe-related expenses. The specific breakdown: approximately $69,000 at Louis Vuitton, another $69,000 at Chanel, $38,000 at Hermes, and $22,000 at a luxury retailer identified as Saint-Honoré. This is the number that has circulated most widely this week, just under $1 million on clothing and accessories across a 4-month period. Dorit's team's response to the wardrobe figure was contained in an April 15, 2026 email that PK's attorneys filed as evidence, an email from Dorit's legal team that was meant to negotiate their financial dispute, and that is now a court document. The email stated that Dorit has always been agreeable to placing the house on the market as long as reasonable protections are in place. It also stated that she needed adequate financial support, including an immediate $50,000 payment. PK's legal filing characterized this $50,000 demand as a precondition for cooperation on the house sale, a demand he did not meet, which his team describes as the reason the cooperation on the sale has not happened. Dorit's team characterized the foreclosure situation differently. Her most recent filing, obtained by People magazine and published 2 days ago, accused PK of using the threat of foreclosure as a deliberate tactical weapon rather than a genuine financial urgency. She said he is keeping her and their children in a constant state of uncertainty by design. Her attorneys included an email in the filing that they say shows PK explicitly writing that he could keep paying the mortgage, but does not want to. The specific language of that email, as described in the filing, is the most damaging piece of evidence Dorit's team has submitted to date. A man writing that he is capable of paying but has chosen not to, during a period when his children are living in the property those payments are supposed to cover, is not the description of someone who is financially incapable of meeting his obligations. It is the description of someone who has decided that not meeting them serves a strategic purpose. The children are the new chapter of this week's filings, and it is the chapter that has generated the most immediate reaction from the RHOBH audience. In an explosive court declaration filed by PK this week, he accused Dorit of involving their children in their financial disputes. The specific allegation, which attorney Ronald Richards posted directly to Instagram as a screenshot of the relevant court testimony, reads as follows. It is equally, if not more alarming, that petitioner has involved our children in our financial disputes. In recent weeks, one of our children sent him messages requesting he pay for a spring break holiday on Dorit's behalf. A child sent to PK asking him to pay for a vacation on Dorit's behalf. PK's characterization of this is that Dorit put their child in the position of being a financial intermediary, that she communicated through the child rather than through attorneys or direct contact, using the emotional leverage of a child's request in a way that an adult-to-adult negotiation about spring break expenses would not carry. Whether this happened the way PK described, or whether it happened differently, is a question that the court will evaluate. What the filing contains is his sworn testimony, on the record, under oath, that his child was sent to him with a money request that originated with Dorit. Dorit has not publicly responded to the child intermediary allegation as of this morning. Her Mother's Day post, published 2 days ago on Bravo's website, described her experience of raising Jagger and Phoenix amid the divorce with the kind of emotional openness she has displayed throughout the public portion of these proceedings. She said raising them had given her purpose through the hardest period of her life. She described them as her biggest inspiration. She said she was doing the work to be the best version of herself for them. The gap between that language and the court allegation, that she sent one of them to ask PK for spring break money, is the specific kind of gap this divorce has been producing all week. There is also a mutual friend dimension that broke this week, and that has introduced a third-party voice into a proceeding that had previously been limited to legal teams and Ronald Richards. Reality T reported on May 12th that a mutual friend of both Dorit and PK had made huge claims about the divorce battle. The substance of what the mutual friend alleged was not fully specified in the reporting, but the existence of a shared social contact now speaking publicly, or at least being reported on as speaking, suggests that the social world around this divorce is beginning to crack open in ways that the legal proceedings alone cannot produce. Mutual friends of divorcing couples are often the last people to go on record because they are trying to preserve access to both parties. When they start talking, it typically means the situation has reached a point where neutrality is no longer possible. Now, let us establish the full financial picture that makes this week's developments legible. PK purchased the Adlon Road property in Encino in August 2019 for $6.475 million. He is no longer living there. He moved into a West Hollywood condo in May 2024 at $16,500 per month after the separation became public. Dorit remains in the house with the children. There are 2 mortgages on the property. The first mortgage, held by Prime Recon LLC, had $294,321 in missed payments as of December 2025. The second mortgage, taken out in 2022 from private lenders at 13.99% interest, matured on September 1, 2025, has not been paid off and carries a current payoff amount as of May 15, 2026 of $895,965.39. The LLC that owns the property has been suspended by the California Franchise Tax Board, meaning it cannot file for bankruptcy protection without first resolving the suspension, which takes days to weeks. The trustee's sale on the second mortgage is scheduled for May 20th, 2026 at 10:30 in the morning. That is 4 days from today. To stop the auction, one of the following needs to happen. The $895,965.39 needs to be paid in full. A court needs to issue an injunction, or the LLC needs to file for bankruptcy protection after first resolving its suspended status. None of those outcomes appears imminent based on the filings from this week. Dorit's team is arguing that PK should stop the foreclosure by resolving the mortgage default. PK's team is arguing that Dorit should agree to sell the house, which would resolve both mortgages and allow both parties to move forward. Dorit's team is arguing that the foreclosure threat is a weapon rather than a genuine urgency. PK's team is filing forensic accounting declarations about $995,000 in clothing purchases. The house is going to auction in 4 days. PK's forensic accountant's declaration also contained the overall spending figure that generated the most sustained discussion across RHOBH social media this week. Beyond the 4-month wardrobe figure, the declaration alleged that between January 2024 and February 2026, roughly 14 months, Dorit spent approximately $2.6 million on personal expenses, averaging more than $102,000 per month. The declaration further alleged that she spent only 9.53% of her income, $338,919 out of $3,559,995 earned on family expenses. The remaining $2,834,100 per the declaration was spent only for Dorit's personal benefit, and none of it, the declaration states, went toward house payments. Ronald Richards, who has been the most prolific public commentator on the financial dimensions of this divorce, added his own observation about PK's financial position alongside Dorit's. He described PK's net cash flow as $40,858 and stated directly that PK is not rich or wealthy and that he borrows money to maintain his lifestyle. He called the situation typical LA story. And he offered the most specific advice anyone has given either party throughout these proceedings. Dorit needs to shop less, service her mortgage, and immediately sell the house and move into an apartment. Paul is presently renting at $16,500 per month. She needs to do the same immediately. Their current lifestyle cannot be maintained. That advice was offered before the children allegation this week, before the electricity payments allegation, before the April 15th email about the $50,000 demand, before the mutual friends started talking, before the May 16th filing from Dorit's team accusing PK of using foreclosure as a weapon. The RHOBH Season 15 reunion aired earlier this year with a version of this divorce that the show was attempting to manage as a sympathetic storyline. Dorit navigating impossible circumstances, doing her best, surviving. The court documents that have been filed in the same period describe a situation that is considerably more complicated than that framing. Both parties are spending at levels that the income does not cover. PK is renting a $16,500 per month condo, while the property he owns is going to auction for an unpaid $895,000 second mortgage. Dorit is spending $102,000 per month on personal expenses, while the utility bills at the house she lives in are going unpaid. A child was allegedly used as a messenger in a financial negotiation. An email exists in which PK allegedly wrote that he could pay the mortgage but does not want to. These are not the circumstances of two people who are amicably trying to untangle a decade of shared life. These are the circumstances of two people conducting a financial war in which the house and the children are simultaneously the territory being contested and the collateral damage of the contest. Dorit posted for Mother's Day that her children give her purpose. She described the love she feels for them as incomparable. She said she is doing the work. PK, in his sworn declaration filed this week, said one of those children was sent to him to ask for vacation money. Both of those things are in the record now. Both of them are what the audience is processing. RHOBH has not yet confirmed its Season 16 casting or filming schedule. The question of where Season 16 films for Dorit, whether at the Encino property, which may no longer be hers after May 20th, or at an apartment that does not yet exist, is the most practical expression of what these court filings mean for her professional life. The show has always filmed in her home. The home is scheduled for auction in 4 days. The season has not started, and the divorce that was supposed to be navigated on the show's terms, in the show's timeline, with the show's editing to soften the hardest edges, has spent the last 72 hours generating court filings faster than any production schedule could have prepared for. 4 days, May 20th, 10:30 in the morning. PK's declaration alleges a child was used to send him financial demands. Dorit's filing alleges PK deliberately stopped the electricity to pressure her. An email in which he allegedly wrote he could pay the mortgage but does not want to. A $895,965 payoff due in 4 days. And a mutual friend who just started talking. Subscribe for more.